Dudley and the Holy Grail. Beneath the performance. In The Bishop's Wife, Dudley is not heroic because he fixes a building, repairs a reputation, or patches up a marriage. Dudley is heroic because he refuses to argue with effects. Everyone else is watching behavior like it is the whole truth. Tone becomes evidence. Attitude becomes identity. Performance becomes a verdict. And then everyone responds to the verdict as if it is reality. That is the spilled milk problem. The mind sees the milk on the floor and starts shouting at the child, as if the shouting will undo what happened. The shouting is always late. It is always aimed at the effect. It never touches the cause. Dudley does something else entirely. He looks for what might be called the Holy Grail inside the person. Not the personality surface, but the hidden center the performance is guarding. That Holy Grail is the place where love was once known and then covered over. Ego does not destroy love, but it does bury it under strategies. It buries it under charm. It buries it under defensiveness. It buries it under perfectionism. It buries it under righteous speeches. It buries it under being the good one. It buries it under being the hard one. It buries it under being the one who never needs anything. Then the world comes along and judges the burying behavior, and the judgment never reaches the buried love. Dudley reaches it. Dudley's method is not confrontation, and it is not correction. It is presence. Presence is not a mood, and it is not charisma. Presence is the willingness to stay with what is true underneath what is loud. Presence is the willingness to listen past the performance without attacking it. Presence is the willingness to see what the person is protecting instead of punishing how they protect it. That is why Dudley never feels like a manager of people. He feels like a witness to something deeper than people. The sheet music is the clearest symbol of this whole thing. On the surface, it is just paper, but Dudley treats it like a key. Not a key to behavior, but a key to memory. And memory is where the heart is hiding. That music does not lead to a lecture, it leads to a song. And the song leads to Alan. And Alan leads to the remembered feeling of love. And the remembered feeling of love exposes the truth about George without a fight. And once the truth is seen, the misdirection dissolves on its own. Even money moves differently when the mind remembers love. That is the busted wide open. Not busted wide open as humiliation. Not busted wide open as being exposed and punished. Busted wide open as in the wall finally has a door. Busted wide open as in there is finally air in the room again. Busted wide open as in the guarded love starts flowing because it no longer has to hide. This is why focusing on labels kills the miracle. A label is a closed verdict pretending to be insight. Call the brother a narcissist, and perception becomes a prison. Call the brother a crook, and curiosity shuts down. Call the brother good, and the moment the brother disappoints an expectation, the label flips into bad. Good and bad are the same weapon, just swung from different angles. Both are judgments at the level of effects. Both miss the Holy Grail. Dudley never gets trapped there. He does not say, "This is what this person is." He asks, without asking, "What is this person protecting?" Because the need to be seen is often guarding a belief in being unseen. The need to talk is often guarding fear of silence. The need to control is often guarding terror of chaos. The need to perform is often guarding a belief that love must be earned. And none of that gets healed by yelling at spilled milk. It gets healed by finding the song. The old church scene makes the whole thing even clearer. The bishop chooses not to come. His wife assumes disappointment is automatic. She even predicts disappointment, as if it is an objective weather report. Dudley says something that sounds simple, but it is a spiritual atomic bomb. He doesn't have to be disappointed. It never occurred to her that disappointment was optional. That is how deep the spell goes. The world trains the mind to treat reactions as mandatory. The world calls it realism. The world calls it maturity. The world calls it being justified. But it is still a choice. Dudley does not deny the circumstance. He denies the inevitability of misery. Then the boys' choir starts singing, and disappointment cannot survive the presence of joy. Joy does not argue. Joy does not debate. Joy simply arrives when the mind stops demanding that it be absent. This is exactly why Dudley can summon tenderness in the woman nobody can stand. This is exactly why she begins eating out of his hand like a child. Not because he dominates her, not because he flatters her, not because he manipulates her. Because he touches the place that has been starving without naming it a defect. Because he reaches the Holy Grail without trying to steal it. Because he plays the song that the world forgot existed. She thought she was alone behind that wall. She thought nobody else knew that song. She thought nothing could penetrate the fortress she erected. And then someone arrives who does not attack the fortress. Someone arrives who does not mock it. Someone arrives who does not label it. Someone arrives who simply stands there, present, and remembers the song anyway. That is why the fortress collapses without violence. The defenses were never the true self. They were the cover. And when the cover is no longer needed, it falls away. This is what makes Dudley feel like a miracle in human form. Because the miracle is not spectacle. The miracle is perception returned to innocence. The miracle is seeing past effects without dismissing them. The miracle is refusing to imprison anyone inside a diagnosis, a label, or a story. The miracle is remembering that underneath every performance is a holy grail that is still intact. Christmas makes this hit harder because Christmas exposes the separation celebration. The streets can look quiet, not because peace has arrived, but because everyone is inside little private worlds trying to manufacture a feeling. Little dog houses of tradition. Little dog houses of family scripts. Little dog houses of loneliness dressed up as comfort. Little dog houses of nostalgia and sugar and scrolling and staying busy. A celebration can still be a hiding place. A holiday can still be a distraction. A room full of people can still be a fortress. And yet the same Dudley principle applies right there in the quiet. The answer is not louder music, louder opinions, louder judgments, or louder fixing. The answer is presence. Presence looks past the spilled milk of the season. Presence looks past the roles people play at the table. Presence looks past the masks of cheer and the masks of bitterness and the masks of being fine. Presence looks for the Holy Grail in the room, the place where love is still true but covered. The song no one thinks anyone else knows. And when that song is played, the whole room can be busted wide open, not into chaos, but into tenderness. Not into performance, but into relief. Not into explaining, but into remembering. That is why Dudley is the hero, not because he wins, because he sees. And once seeing returns, everything that looked fixed, locked and fated starts to loosen without force. Because love was never gone. It was just waiting underneath the effects for someone to stop shouting at the milk and start listening for the song.